redheads black people? Let's talk about it. Okay, so I'm actually super excited that video actually got super viral because this is something I've talked about with me and all of my black friends for like years now. And I have a lot of thoughts about this, so this is gonna be a longer video, just bear with me, but I think you'll enjoy it. Now, just as a disclaimer, I don't think redheads are black people. I don't think any redhead can speak to what it's like being a black person in America. But anyway, that being said, let's get into it. So first off, let's talk about the history of things. So redheads have not been treated the best throughout history by white people. During the Salem witch trials, a lot of us were burned at the stake. Hitler apparently briefly banned marriage to redheads. They were thought to be vampires and actually several different cultures, and a lot of redheads are Irish, and the Irish were kind of like enslaved. I think technically it was indentured servants to the British for hundreds of years, and ultimately were treated horribly by the British for hundreds of years. Now again, none of this is nowhere near the discrimination that black people faced. So the whole point of telling you guys that is like to say redheads have been like othered by white people forever. And that still goes on today, to the point where a lot of redhead experiences actually can sort of be related to black people's experience. So let me just like give you some examples. So for example, redheads get asked, can I touch your hair? Redheads get asked, is your hair real? It's hard to find makeup and like stuff that works for you because our skin tone and features are not the norm, which is something I think a lot of POC women can relate to. Another thing redhead women struggle with is like being fetishized and sexualized, but not respected. I think when you are uniquely beautiful as a woman, it can take a minute for like men to appreciate that beauty. And as a kid, it can feel like you're bullied and then you're fetishized, but no one actually like sees you as a potential girlfriend or like respects you. And that's something that I think me and my POC girlfriends can relate to, because it's like you always lose to like a generic looking blonde girl or brunette girl. No offense to y'all, love y'all, but that's just kind of how it goes. Another thing I feel like redheads can relate to is like being told a certain celebrity looks like you even though you don't look anything like them, you just both have red hair. Or like even just like being known as the redhead. Again, not nearly as bad as facing overt racism, but I feel like redheads get a tiny taste of what that's like. Therefore, we're able to relate to it or like have empathy for it, etc. I also think other white people don't appreciate the kind of beauty redheads have as much as other minorities. Like the best compliments I've ever gotten and the most compliments I've ever gotten is from black women. I will never forget the first person to compliment my skin tone when I stopped self-tanning was a black woman who was like, your skin is so, beautiful. It's like porcelain. It's so pale. And like, I feel like another white woman would never say that because white women hate their pale skin, like they constantly want to make it tanner or darker or whatever. Like I go to school at the University of Alabama, right, where the beauty standard for white women is to have tan skin and blonde hair. So it felt like when that was the beauty standard, other white women weren't like going up and complimenting me because I didn't fit that beauty standard. But the black women who like couldn't adhere to that beauty standard or like didn't have that set out for them could appreciate redhead beauty, if that makes sense. Another thing redheads can kind of relate to, and this one is a little bit of a stretch, but just bear with me, is like cultural appropriation of features that we used to be bullied for. So I was always kind of bullied for having red hair and freckles and stuff. And then I think in like 2020, cowboy copper became a thing. And it was like, oh, okay, so you called me Carrot Top and bullied me throughout my whole childhood, and now it's like rebranded as Cowboy Copper, and it's trendy now. Same thing with freckles. I was bullied for having freckles, and then all of a sudden people are like putting on faux freckles over their face. Not the same thing as like white women suddenly making silk bonnets a thing, but again, it's one of those examples where it's like redheads get a tiny taste of what that's like. I want to be crystal clear. I do not think it's fair to compare the minor discrimination redheads face to the racism and discrimination that other minorities face. But I do think that redheads are kind of like the light skins or the black people of white people. And because of that, we will always have like a certain bond, I think, with other minorities that most white people won't experience. Love you guys so much. Bye.
I agree to a certain extent, and I want to say your pain is valid, But imagine the power if every race came together and said never again, not to any of us. That's unity, that's change. I feel like when we stop comparing pain, that's when we realize hate don't discriminate, y'all. Remember, abundance help with prison is dryness. Hair breakers need I say more. We got better together. Hair can't not race. I love you guys. Bye.